Multiplying polynomials. To multiply two polynomials together, you simply multiply each term in the first polynomial by each term in the second polynomial. Then you just go back and combine like terms. For an example, 6x times x plus 4. We only have one term out in front, 6x times everything inside the set of parentheses. Two terms are a binomial. So distribute 6x to both of those terms, x and 4 inside the set of parentheses, beginning with the x. 6x times x gives us 6x squared. X times x, you're multiplying two powers with like bases, so you add their exponents. They both have an exponent of 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. The next term, 6x times 4, 24x. In this case, we do not have any like terms to combine, so we're done. The polynomial, our answer, is in standard form at this point, completely simplified. Example 2, a binomial times a trinomial. So notice there's still no equal sign. We're not solving anything, we're just simplifying. So we still want to follow the order of operations. We cannot simplify anything inside the set of parentheses. We do not have any exponents. So that's why we go on to multiplication. Once again, binomial times a trinomial. Each term in the first binomial is going to be multiplied by each term in the second. Beginning with the x, distribute each one of those three terms in the second polynomial. X times x squared gives us x cubed. X times 5x, 5x squared. X times negative 2, negative 2x. Do the same thing for the second term, then negative 3. Distribute it to all three terms in the second polynomial. Negative 3 times x squared, negative 3x squared, negative 3 times 5x, negative 15x, negative 3 times a negative 2, positive 6. So we've done the multiplication, no division, so the last step, addition or subtraction. In other words, combining like terms. Well, x cubed does not have a like term, so we just bring it down. 5x squared and negative 3x squared combine to give us 2x squared. Negative 2x and a negative 15x, negative 17x. And that last constant, 6, does not have a like term, so we bring it down as well. So the final simplified answer in standard form, x cubed plus 2x squared minus 17x plus 6. Example 3. Once again, just simplifying. Cannot simplify anything inside the set of parentheses. Do not have any exponents. So the multiplication, what's being multiplied in this case, is two binomials. So we can certainly still follow the same steps. Multiply each term in the first polynomial by each term in the second. So the first term, 2a, distribute it, 2a times a, 2a squared, 2a times a negative 3, negative 6a. The second term, the 4, distribute it into the second polynomial, 4 times a, 4a, 4 times negative 3, negative 12. Now just a matter of combining like terms. The middle two terms are like terms, so 2a squared minus 2a minus 12. Final simplified answer in standard form. However, this is an example of a pretty common type of polynomials that get multiplied. In other words, two binomials. And it's somewhat of a special case scenario. When we multiply two binomials, we can FOIL them together, which is an acronym that helps us determine or figure out what gets multiplied by what. The F stands for the first terms. We multiply the first terms in each polynomial, so in this case it would be the 2a and a. It gives us 2a squared. O stands for the outer terms. So we multiply the two outer terms, which would be the 2a and the negative 3, giving us negative 6a. The I are the two inner terms, 4 and a, 4a, and the last two terms in each polynomial get multiplied, the 4 and the negative 3, giving us negative 12. And of course we still need to combine like terms, which obviously gives us the same simplified answer. But as we can see by the steps, it's the same amount of work. We multiplied the exact same terms together, same amount of steps. So this FOILing method is only a special case scenario that only works when you're multiplying two binomials together, and as you'll see, the math is exactly the same. So the reason why we talk about FOILing and want to practice using it is because with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to multiply two binomials together like this in your head without having to actually show this step. Especially next chapter later on, we're going to be multiplying so many binomials together that you'll want to be able to do this in your head without having to actually write it down and show your work. It'll save you a lot of time. So we want to keep this method in the back of our mind, foiling, and practice it anytime we're multiplying two binomials together. Like example 4, 3x plus 5 squared. Well, we talked about the properties or the rules of exponents. More than one term raised to a power, we cannot distribute that exponent. So what we're going to do is expand it out. That base, what's inside the set of parentheses, is simply going to be multiplied by itself twice. So 3x plus 5 times 3x plus 5, when we expand it out like this, we see it's a multiplication of two binomials. So we want to practice foiling. Multiply the first two terms together. 3x and 3x gives us 9x squared. The outer and inner terms, 3x and 5, 15x. The inner terms, another 3x and 5, so it gives us another 15x. And the last two terms, 5 and 5, 25. The outer and inner terms will be our like terms, so we combine them. 9x squared plus 30x plus 25. Like I said, with a little bit of practice, you won't even have to show that middle step. You'll be able to multiply these together in your head. Example 5, similar problem, x minus 1 cubed. We know we cannot distribute that exponent, so we expand it out. That base x minus 1 is going to be multiplied by itself 3 times. So here we're multiplying 3 binomials together. We can only multiply 2 polynomials together at a time, so we'll just go ahead and multiply the first two together first, which a multiplication of 2 binomials will FOIL it again, and since the numbers are a little smaller, we will just do this one in our heads. Multiply the first two terms together, x and x gives us x squared. Then outer and inner terms will be our like terms, so the outer terms, negative x, the inner terms, another negative x, combining to give us negative 2x, and the last two terms, negative 1 and negative 1, gives us a positive 1. Now we just have to take this product, this trinomial, multiply it by that third remaining binomial, which of course is a trinomial times a binomial, so we cannot FOIL it. We just follow our standard procedure, multiply each term in the first polynomial by each term in the second. Right now we'd have to distribute all 3 of those terms in the first polynomial into the second, but since it's multiplication, order doesn't matter. We could switch around the order and have x minus 1 times x squared minus 2x plus 1, which might be a little easier to multiply. Really the same amount of work, but might help us out a little bit. Multiply the first term, x, by everything inside the second set of parentheses. X times x squared, x cubed. X times negative 2x, negative 2x squared. X times 1 is just an x. Second term, negative 1, negative x squared, positive 2x minus 1. Now just a matter of combining like terms. X cubed does not have a like term. We bring it down. Negative 2x squared and negative x squared gives us negative 3x squared. X and 2x gives us 3x, and that minus 1. Number 6, multiplication of 2 trinomials. So order of operations, we cannot simplify anything inside the set of parentheses, no exponents to work. So then we go on to multiplication. Multiply each term in the first polynomial by each term in the second. So the first term in the first polynomial, x squared, distribute it. It gives us 2x to the 4th minus x cubed plus 6x squared. The second term, the 3x, distribute it into the second polynomial. 3x times 2x squared, 6x cubed. 3x times negative x, negative 3x squared. 3x times 6, 18x. And still that third term, 5, distribute it into the second polynomial to give us 10x squared minus 5x plus 30. Now addition or subtraction, combining like terms. 2x to the 4th does not have a like term, so we bring it down. Negative 3x cubed and 6x cubed combine to give us 5x cubed. 6x squared, negative 3x squared, and a positive 10x squared combine to give us 13x squared. 18x, negative 5x, 13x, and plus 30 just gets brought down. So all of this would be our final simplified answer in standard form.